Hi, Martin. I'm Guntram from Agent. Great that you're here today with us. We're talking a bit about JavaScript and specifically about AR, VR landscape. You are working quite a lot in WebVR. Maybe tell us a bit about yourself. How did you get to JavaScript? How did you get to VR?
All right, yeah. So hi, Guntram, and hi, the internet at large. My name is Martin Schlitt. I work for a company called Archaeologic here in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm also a GDE for web technologies, and I basically ended up doing web 12 years ago after doing like a bit of game programming. So I started programming with making simple, stupid, terrible games because I was fascinated by computer games as a kid and as a teenager.
Okay.
But the problem was that these games usually only ran on, well, a certain, computer type of computer or type of console or something. So I had a bunch of friends in my class who were running Windows. I was running Linux at the time, being the nerd that I am. And then we had some people on Apple computers. And I couldn't really share it with everyone. And that was really sad. And so I decided to make web games. And I mean, in the beginning, that was mostly like tables where you can like have forms and you type in like, I want to build 10 of these Star Destroyers. And then you would hit send, and then on the server side, it would go like, yeah, it's now take 2 hours until it reaches the other planet and stuff like that. So that was kind of fascinating me. Yeah, but that was the early games of web, gaming really, of like online games in the browser. But I think around like 2003, 2004, 5, it became more interesting because you could do more things with JavaScript. You could have more interactive experiences. And since 2011, we can also do 3D in the browser. Now, I'm not really working in games anymore. I'm far not like good enough to do games, I think. But I joined Archaeologic in 2014 with the mission and vision to make 3D content, or actually not 3D content, to make spaces as an interior spaces, your flat, your apartment, a hotel room, an office, whatever, available and interactive for everyone. Because we have had a lot of interactive media, like we had Flash games and stuff, but we didn't really have that much interactive 3D content. And I think building a specific piece of software is then also going backwards rather than forwards. We would come back to the problem that the software we build would only run on a certain operating system, and you would have to have like certain things to make that work. So we thought the best way to share interactive content is the web. And we wanted spaces to be part of this interactive content and be available there. So we wanted to create a semantic way of interacting with space in the web or on the web. So we built an editor, spaces.archaeologic.com, which is a very simple layman's editor where you, like, in a Sim style, you draw your walls and your floors and your windows and your walls. And each of these elements knows what it is. So it's semantic. It's not just like a bunch of boxes. It's actually a semantic 3D model. And that was great. But we figured out, wait a minute, when we have 3D content, we can also put it in VR, thanks to WebVR. And recently we figured out, wait, we can also put it in AR, actually. So, but to do so, or to make this interesting to the world and help everyone kind of do the thing, we realized we are only 16 people and like 8, 9 of them developers. So if we keep it a product, if we keep it a closed boxed thing, then people can't really go wild with it, don't really do things with it. So we recently launched, recently being like 6 months ago, so like July 2017-ish, a platform called 3D.io. So it's like literally the number 3D.io. That is a bunch of components and APIs that you can use to build 3D, VR, or AR applications on the web, centered around interior spaces. So we have furniture, and you can give us a 2-dimensional floor plan, like an image, and we create a 3D model from it for you via API calls, do a lot of optimizations for you in the background. So yeah, so that's what we are doing, and VR is an integral part of that. AR is also an important part of that, and we hope to bring that to everyone out there so that they can start, you can all start building cool stuff in AR, VR, and just 3D on the web.
That's pretty cool. Just that you mentioned you mentioned a couple of different domains and brand names. Can you just figure it out? Do you have this archaeological archaeological?
Architecture logic, like archaeologic.com is where you find most of it.
Okay.
I can actually show you how that would look like. So I'll go into, I have prepared something, but that doesn't matter because I can just change it to something else. So if you go to spaces.archaeologic.com, you can also go to archaeologic.com, it's going to redirect, it's not a problem. You see more or less like this is the product side. So we still have our product here, and a bunch of partners use it as well.
Okay.
And then you can dive into different 2D models. But this is kind of like limited. As you can see, you have like a bunch of furniture here. You can add. You can also add your own architecture. I could literally start building my own thing. So if I log in real quick, I could say I want to start from scratch. I want to start with nothing, and then you can literally start building your apartment. Let me actually hide the cookie layover. Let's go here. Let's drag this a little larger, like this. And then I can say, I don't like this floor, so maybe I want a brighter wood or something. And then, yeah, so you can get going. So this is the product side of things. But I honestly think, well, this is great. I think this is boring as well, because as a developer, I mean, this is really lovely, but as a developer, you want to do your own thing, right? You don't want to just build a little house. You want to build your own stuff. I don't know, maybe a shooter or a gallery or I don't know, puzzle game or something like that, or maybe even just like a real estate showcase. Whatever you want to build, you can build yourself. So once we have built this model, I'm not going to finish it up, but basically you see you have a bunch of options here. You can also like do more interesting windows like this. What you can also do is you can go to 3d.io, which is a wonderful short URL, and start using our APIs and build your own things. And you see we have things like convert floor plans to 3D models. We have a furniture library. We have a scene library, which is 3D models. So you can literally start getting going. You can say, I want this, I don't know, I want this washing machine, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some sample code down here already, and then you can go wild with this and build your own applications that contain a washing machine or a chair.
So how do you get? Let's say a good friend of mine, they are in the interior design space. So yes, they help people to furnish their living room, for example. Yes. And they've asked people, okay, how can this living? What do you like? What style, and so on and so forth. So then they are like you imagine a classical interior architect, but just on the web. So they do it as a platform. So they acquire quite a lot of people with a lot of engagement about their product. Now, how could they use your platform? How would they get started? How do they get their models in there? But also, how do they integrate into their business workflow? So they ask people about stuff. They generate intelligence about their customers. How does this all blend together? How would I take this roadmap? How would you suggest to go along?
So as I say, these are all APIs and it's all semantic data. So this chair does not only know that it's a chair, it can also say, I want a blue sofa. So you have a bit of information here already, right? Or I want a green sofa. So it has to be green now. Hey, there we go. So we have a bunch of data already that helps you select things. What they can do as an interior architect is they could build literally their own application where they have a data library, basically where they link their information database to our furniture database. They can even give us money and get the 3D models into our furniture library if they really want it. They can also host them themselves. It's all possible to do that. And they can use our APIs to help with that. What they can also do is they can say, hey, I mean, they are interior architects, so they need to have the space that the person lives in. So probably from their customers, they get a floor plan, a two-dimensional floor plan. Now with a two-dimensional floor plan, you can't do terribly much. What they can then do is they can, for instance, have a process. If you sign up for their services, you upload a floor plan on a web form. And the first thing they do is they take this floor plan and send it to our backend and get a 3D model back. And then they can get in touch with their customer and say like, so we now have the 3D model. We have a few questions you have to fill in, and then we're going to give you a 3D model where you can walk through and see if it fits. And then they can furnish this using either APIs, or they can build their own tool to make that work, or they can use our tool to like put furniture in and then send the link either via email or however to their customers. So if they don't invite the customers over, if the customers are somewhere else, if they are remote, they send a link and they click on the link on any browser that supports WebGL, which is pretty much every browser. I think like down to Internet Explorer 11. And they can then see the 3D model, and they can go into VR if they have like a cardboard or an HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift, and they can walk around in their own space, in their apartment, and say, I don't like this couch over there. So they can then just go back and send an email like we really like the design, however, the couch is not quite our thing. So they could, the interior designer could then update the couch and send the link back and say like, look at this, is this better? And then they say, yeah, this is pretty cool, nice. Can you buy these furniture? Like, can you actually buy this for us, for instance? And then because the data is semantic, we know that this sofa, for instance, is a Vitra sofa, and it's the Polder Sofa Compact left in green. So you can literally buy this thing from Vitra in this case.
That's really cool. I'm totally stunned. I have to say, I'm totally excited about this. I think it's just really awesome. How do I, when I'm Vitra, now I mean, typically we sit here in Vorarlberg, which is in the middle of Europe, and we have quite a lot of handcrafts people here. So we have really people that are highly skilled and do very nice furniture, wood furniture and stuff like this. How does such a person, I mean, yes, we can use SketchUp and so on, but once I have built my chair in SketchUp, how will I get it into your platform? What is a good workflow? How can this work?
That is a brilliant and unfortunately not very easy to answer question. So the answer is it depends. As usual, is the answer to this question as well. So you can do a bunch of things. You can use SketchUp and build the model yourself. Upload it to our platform, and then basically you have to have your own furniture library, because that's not very easy to get into ours.
Okay, but what format would I need? So let's say I design something in SketchUp. How would I? What is a good stuff? What should I consider when I'm working with you? A general, as a rule of thumb, 3 things that I should consider.
Right. This is not only limited to us. This is like a global answer. If you are looking for a simple, very interoperable format that works everywhere today, I would suggest Wavefront, also called OBJ.
Okay.
OBJ files are like pretty much like the JavaScript of the D format. It's actually, unlike JavaScript, it can't do much. Like OBJ is not very good, but it works pretty much everywhere. I hope that the answer in a few months will be GLTF. GLTF is the GL transfer format. It's a much more sophisticated format, yet an easier format to support. So if you already have Collara files or OBJ files, you can relatively easily convert them into GLTF. And GLTF just supports much more things. It supports things like animations and different camera settings and shaders and all that kind of stuff. So it is much more versatile than OBJ will ever be. OBJ is like the simplest thing that's possibly working. It's literally a text file format, but I hope that very soon we will see more GLTF or more software supporting GLTF. There's already a bunch of software that supports it, but it's not quite where OBJ is right now, unfortunately.
Okay.
So yeah,
when I have a OBJ file, and it's like an archive. I can bake in the textures. I can make a bundle of it, and then I just have everything in a nice format and send this over to you. Or you have a tutorial on your website where I can refer to.
Conveniently, we have a tutorial on this as well, where it's explained. But it's like the OBJ format is not really nice, because you have to literally send a bunch of files. It's not one file, it's actually 2 files for the 3D model itself, and then all the textures, all the images that come with it are separate files. You have to give us the entire bundle. You can upload that. We have an API that imports it. You can literally drag and drop. Actually, let me see. Maybe I have an OBJ here. Let me see if I can show you this particular flow. But before I say share my screen, I want to see if I actually do have a 3D model that I could show, because I'm not sure if I do. So let me quickly download one. So let's share my entire screen for a second and go into this wonderful thing. So I know models free. So I know that there's a website that has a bunch of 3D models ready for download, which is like super nice. And we're gonna pick one that I know is, oh, this is actually not where I wanted to be, because there's a, I think it's the, is it the models resource? I think this is the one, yes. The website looks terrible, but actually it's kind of lovely because they have a bunch of things. So I can, for instance, go to Super Mario 64 and take Bowser, let's say. So it's not going to look terrifically great, but it's going to be easy enough to download. And I have to be careful because this is obviously scanned. So I have to click here. I get a zip file, and you will immediately see that there's a bit of a problem with the zip file. So if I go into the zip file, you see like I have a bunch of BMPs. Unfortunately, I don't think that we are supporting BMP files, so that's a bit annoying. But
I don't know if anyone supports still BMP files.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. But let's actually see. So the cool thing is that here we can actually see how these files look like. So this is nice. So here we see this is the material information. So it uses this this Bowser GRP PNG. So I only have to upload this one file. So that's at least less terrible. Let's see if I can get back here. So basically, what I need is I need the OBJ. Here's the so basically this is the geometry. This is the material. Geometry means this is a bunch of points and how they relate to triangles. Here's like colors and images, and this is the actual image. So I should be able to take these three. I should be able to go to our tool, logic.com. I'll grab this window and put it over here. Hello?
Yeah, everything
no?
cool.
Okay. Yeah, it just doesn't do the thing that I want it to do, because normally it should just See, it like shades, but then here now we're talking. So I can then say like build my own, and we start from nothing, which is nice because I can now drag these three files and upload them. Generate textures. Here we go, and here we have.
That's really easy. That's really easy. I mean, I'm really stunned. It works perfect.
Yeah. So now the question is like, is the scale right? I don't know how large Bowser is right now. Let's put a chair next to him. Right. So Bowser is quite gigantic, I would say. So what we want to do is probably we want to scale him down. So let's say 0.5 meters. That's still quite large. Let's say 0.2 meters. So now we have Bowser next to our chairs. I mean, sure, Bowser is large, but I think now it's more realistic than it has been before. I can go in first-person mode, and I think I just flew through him rather than actually. It's a bit tricky because unfortunately I don't have a mouse here, so it's like a bit tricky to get where I want to get, and also like, okay, here we go. So yeah, so this is Bowser. I think he's actually too small now, so let's make him larger. Yeah, that looks more like it. So I can now move away from him, and he's like more or less my size. He's a bit taller. Maybe if we want to make him, yeah, okay, now he's like, yeah, okay, I think that's pretty good. So so here we have Bowser. Hi, Bowser. And the nice thing is that I get the storage ID, which is conveniently used in our API. So what I can do with this storage ID is I can go to glitch, start a new one. So this is just a way of really quickly setting up a website basically that I can then try out and do stuff with. So I'm gonna remove a bunch of stuff that we don't need. Remove this as well, and I'm gonna load a few JavaScript files in a second here, and I'm gonna just real quick remember this particular thing here. What we can do now, I'm gonna steal a bunch of this code here because it's conveniently coming with the code that I need, so I don't have to Google for this real quick. So what we are using here is two things. We are using the A-frame library. Let's actually comment this out for a second. Let's go back. So basically, one of the things that I heard a lot, and this goes now to WebVR and VR on the web in general, is that people say, oh, it's so hard to get started, and it's like super frightening because you have to learn a lot of math, and oh my God, it's all so complicated. It's not as complicated to get started, actually. So this library, A-Frame, is really nice because it gives us HTML tags. So for instance, we can create a scene. This is more or less like if we were making a movie. So we create an empty scene and we can put things into it. So we can put a box, for instance, and I can say the box shall be red. And I want to position it. So now my camera is at 0, 0, 0 in space. The first number is how far to the left and how far to the right am I. The second number is how far up and down am I. And the third number is how far into the screen or out of the screen am I. So my camera is at 0, 0, 0 and looks into the screen. So now I have to move the box not to the left, not to the right, but into the screen. And basically the third value is how many meters out of the screen will I move this. So I have to move it -2 meters or -3 meters out of the screen. So I'm moving it 3 meters into the screen. So when I do that and I click this wonderful show button, I get my box. Ta-da!
Very cool.
And the last thing is I get controls as well, and I get this little button down here. This means if I would have a VR headset attached to my computer, which I don't, I would be going into VR mode. Now that I don't have a VR headset thing, I'm basically just going into full screen mode. So this is how easy it is to get started, and then you can get a sky around this. So I can say I want an A sky, and I want the color to be. I'm very creative, so I'm just going to use sky blue. And here we have it. The box is now surrounded by a blue sky. And I can do things like I want an A plane, and I want it to be 50 meters high, and actually by high I mean like basically deep. Now the plane is going to stand up, so I have to rotate it, and I'm going to rotate it around the x-axis, and you don't have to worry about that too much, but basically we're just rotating it. We're giving it a color of green, and we should now have, yes, so here we have it, our green, well, meadow, if you want to call it that. What's also super cool is A-Frame comes with developer tools. So if I enable the developer tools from A-Frame, I get this 3D editor kind of thing, right? So here I see all the things that I created, so I can hide them. If I don't want to see them, I can hide this one as well. The weird lines here, that's the camera, the white line being where the camera is looking towards. So I can now add a box again so that we see something again. So I can say, I want this to have a geometry of type box, have a, I believe, white box probably. No, it's blue. Okay, fair enough. It's a random color until I give it a color. Color is defined in the material. So I go into the material. The default color is white. I want it to be red again. And here we have it. It's a bit too low. I want this to, move up a bit. I can also say that I want this to be precisely at 1 meter height. And then I can press this little copy button here because what I'm seeing here is nice, but I need to get that back to my code, right? So what I can do is I can press copy and then paste it in, and voila, it has reloaded and the box is still there.
That's cool.
So that's A-Frame, and that's awesome. And I love how quickly you can build stuff with this.
So that's like the web developer toolbar for 3D, pretty much, right? The A-Frame.
Pretty much, exactly, pretty much. So A-Frame has these developer tools that are like super nice to get going, and they're basically the developer tools for 3D in the browser. And as I said, this is also doing VR as well. So basically, you get like the full load in one go. That's kind of cool that you can do all things. In these developer tools, you can even like scale things. If I want to, change the scale, here we go. That's awesome and super quick and great. But at some point, you're going to get bored by the shapes that are defined here, because you can have like a circle and a box and a cylinder. And I think the most exciting, okay, there's a sphere that looks terrible when you scale it incorrectly. Let's scale it back to 111. Here's a sphere. I think the most exciting form here is probably like the torus knot, because it looks kind of funny. I don't know where this is useful, but it's kind of an interesting shape, I guess. But you have only so many shapes. You have these like, I think like 10 or maybe 8 or I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, maybe like 12 or something. So you get bored at some point and go like, yeah, okay, that's all cool, but can I do something more exciting with it? You can. You can import 2D models. I don't have one ready right now, but what we can do is, because we uploaded something to Archaeologic, which is basically using 2D.io as a background, we get a storage ID. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that I can load our library and say I want to use this particular 3D model. So everything here is an A entity, as these are just like 2D objects. Find this wonderful thing here called the IO 3D. It's basically our namespace, and then we have data 3D, which is the file format that we use internally. And I can give it a storage. No, actually, it's not true. This is I have to use a different thing. No, go away. I have to give it this key, the storage ID key. So I'm copying this thing here, paste it in here. It's gigantic and stands too close, but I can say position 0, 0, -3. So I move it into the space a bit. Okay, it's still too close. -10, and probably like 2 or something. I don't know how tall Bowser is. Now Bowser is pretty tall, as we can see, so it's maybe like even 5 meters. Yeah, we're getting there, I think. Now this is something where the developer tools start to shine, right? Because I can see, so see this here. So basically, this is the ground level, and this is my eye line. So this is 1.80 meters. So Bowser is gigantic. I can also try to figure out when, okay, here's when he starts like submerging himself. So basically, this is when he stands on the ground, 4.54 meters above ground. So I put him here, and now he's not facing me. I want him to face me, so I can go back in here, and I can say rotate, and I rotate him around this axis. And now he looks at me, I believe. Does he? Yes, he looks at me. Yeah, okay, here we go. And I wanna copy this value as well, and I'm gonna put it into rotation. Oops, my bad. There we go. And here we have it, a gigantic Bowser angrily looking at me.
That's really awesome.
Fair enough. Bowser is pretty tall, so let's make him like 0. Actually, that's too small. Let's make him 10% of his original size. 0.1. Now, obviously, I have to also adjust the how deep I put him. Now he's kind of like tiny. Actually, this is a bit annoying as well. Right. So we can then like start exploring how tall to make him. Maybe I put him 3 meters away, like 1.50 meters up, and then I scale him. I say 0.5, well, 0.25, 0.25, 0. So 25% of his original height. And yeah, okay, now this looks better, I think. This is more like the Bowser I would expect. So yeah, this is how you can get going.
That's very cool. So I think we touched already a couple of important things. So the being a web developer, how would I start using 3D.io or Archaeologic technically? So where are the places where you want to go to? Where do you find the best resources?
So I think the best place to go to is, it depends a bit on what you're interested in. So if you like videos, we have this making stuff with 3D.io video series that I'm doing with my coworkers. It's quite fun to try things out really. But you might also just literally go to 3D.io because we are sharing a bunch of stuff there as well. Let me share my screen again. Let's quickly go back here. So probably the easiest way to get started is to have a look at our documentation. Our documentation is quite extensive. If you start here, for instance, you see a little demo, you can click here and you get like literally thrown right away into an interactive, demo that you can use a source from. You can open the inspector. So we're making it really, really easy to navigate all these things and try them out real quick. View source takes you to Glitch, where you can directly, you see like it copied it already over to my, we have to update this. It copies it over to something that I can edit. And if I now click like loading, it gives me the thing again, and then I can start experimenting. Oh, there's one more thing that's like really cool to experiment with things. You see it here in normal A-frame inspector, in the normal A-frame developer tools, you do not have this button. The moment you load our library, you get this additional button. It's a plugin that we wrote that gives you access to a bunch of things. And one of the cool things is we are really into community. So we don't want you to just use our stuff, but we really want you to start getting going with like lots of content. So what you can do is you can, for instance, search for, I don't know, let's search for cactus. Right. The search is not quite helpful because this particularly is not a cactus, but this is at least a plant. So I can now, either drag and drop the plant, or let's try this. This model is locked. So unfortunately, some of the people are actually locking the model. Let's search for monster. Let's see if we get one. How is a snowman a monster? But this fox looks really awesome. So I drag this fox over here, and of course, I get nope from all the models I try. That's great. So unfortunately, we have no easy way to figure out if authors allow this or not. But if authors don't allow it, we can't really load them. So we find out by trying, basically. Let's see what happens with this tree, for instance. I'm really, really trying to find something that is okay. I'm not very lucky right now, but basically you can search and drag and drop from this one. But you can also drag and drop our furniture library. So if we come back to earlier on, and I go like sofa, green, I get this wonderful green sofa, and I can drag and drop it in here and just really quickly experiment with that if I wish. So I can put the sofa, I don't know, here maybe. And also you see the models are semantic in a way that I can programmatically or manually in this editor change the material. So this sofa is available in a bunch of colors, so blue, golden yellow, red, and green apparently. So if I now go back to my scene, there it is. So this is probably the best way to.
It's really, really powerful.
Well, I think this is the quickest way to get going with our stuff, either reading the documentation, watching our video tutorials, or diving in like this.
Very cool. And I've seen that you also have premium features on your website, so I can use the free plan if I want, but I also can, on the one hand, contribute by being a user, by taking a business or professional plan, and on the other hand, I have the possibility of becoming a certified 3D.io partner. So maybe just tell 2-3 sentences about these two things.
So yes, so basically all the APIs you saw are free to a certain degree. It's basically like everything else as well, like Google Maps or something. You get a few things for free and forever free. For instance, so if you use our furniture or our 3D models and you just display them, free. We're not going to charge you ever. However, if you do certain things that cause us trouble in the sense of like it causes us work, we have to somehow finance ourselves. So you get a certain amount of free API calls. So I think you can, if you, for instance, let's take the example. We have a really, really cool, powerful feature that I really, really quickly want to show you. Because we have so many 3D models already, so we know a bunch of apartments and we have furnished them. We have this wonderful, actually, I think I am even running the, yes, wonderful. So we have a bunch of these semantic models. And what we did is we did machine learning on them. So what we did there, why is it not corresponding? What the heck? Okay, great. This example does not collaborate right now, which is very annoying. Right, and then we do this. So here we have a floor plan, and we can call furnish on it. So basically we use our machine learning cloud and are creating based on this. Oh, I know why it's not working. Oh, bummer. I have to give it.
I'm just flashed by your creativity. It's just awesome. I just let alone the idea. I'm sure that you will get it to work somehow, but
The
just
thing is,
cool.
it works. The problem I have right now is that I wasn't prepared for this particular demo. So basically, I run a version that is, and instead of giving you the actual experience, I basically give you a broken developer experience because I just started fixing a bug by basically, well, breaking everything to begin with.
That's
So
no problem. I would say we will leave it there for today, and we just schedule a new meeting where we go into this learning concept, because I think this is very compelling, and also we'll get more deeper into the developer community. So I would ask you, or we will figure out a new date after our talk today, because I think now you already shared quite a lot of stuff, and we will have a new meeting where we continue if you're ready for this. Maybe Martin, just show us a little bit about your ways to connect. So we talked about 3D.io. Do you have Twitter?
I do have Twitter. I am. If you search for Martin Splint, there's only one on Twitter, which is convenient. It's going to be me. You can also, actually, I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to show it real quick. You can also find us on Twitter as well. So we're not like hermiting up or something. If you go to twitter.com, archaeologic3D, because archaeologic was unfortunately already taken, you find us here. We are pretty active on Twitter. You can go to 3D.io, as I said. We have links there as well. We're on GitHub, so most of the things that you saw today are actually also open source. So here you find like the 3D.io JS library, you have furniture app as an example, you have the floor plan app. All this exists in open source. It's publicly available. You can also find us in Stack Overflow. Like if you have a question regarding our stuff, if you go to stackoverflow.com and search for 3D.io, you find the tag 3D.io. It exists as well. Actually, the tag is 3D.io. I'm sorry. We are doing our best to be active. Unfortunately, some people do not actually mark these answers as well, these questions as results. But we're doing our best to fix or help you with fixing your problems and on Stack Overflow as well. So we have GitHub, you have the internet at large in our website, and you have Twitter to reach out to us. Those are the best ways. And then regarding the partner program, so you have like a free quota to try stuff out for free. All the APIs are available for free to a certain amount. If you're super successful, you're going to have to either get a premium plan or pay by API call. But we're basically just going to bump you like, hey, hi, you do a lot of work with our APIs. That's cool. But could we ask you for a bit of money, maybe? So if you're like super popular and doing something really amazing and are successful, we're going to take a little cut of your profits. And then we have the Certified Partners Program, the Trusted Developers Program, and the Ambassadors Program. These three things are ways where we want to help the community be successful with us together. So as a certified partner, if you are doing 3D models, the Certified Partner Program is for you, because you can use our tooling and APIs and platform to sell your 3D models to people, which is amazing. As a trusted developer, if you're a software developer, a company that wants to be found by potential customers and clients that want to build stuff with our platform. So we have companies coming like, hey, we want to build a furniture interior design program. We just don't know how because we're interior designers and not actually programmers. Then we say, well, we're the platform, but hey, how about you go to these wonderful people, our trusted developers? They are happy to take your business and build something with you. And you also get like more direct support and more direct feedback and office hours and all that kind of stuff, and feature previews and all these wonderful things. And if you're an individual who wants to, teach people 3D on the web or build something with us that is really cool, but not necessarily a business, then the Ambassadors Program is for you. If you're interested in that, tweet at us or send us an email. There's an email address on the form as well. So it's like hi@3D.io to talk to you.
Yeah, I already have a couple of guys in mind that I have to tell them how to tweet to you and learn more about you. I'm really excited. I think this is a very, very interesting project you're working on. I wish you all the best, and I'm hopefully that we will continue with another couple of sessions, because it's just, yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Martin, thank you.
Thank you very much, Guntram, and happy holiday.
Have a good day. See you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.